You ever have a moment when it feels like the entire world is betting against you? Yeah, that was me. Center stage in a packed room filled with Detroit's sharpest engineers, high-ranking executives, and press, all gathered for a show. Only this time, the show was me. Standing there in the middle in nothing but jeans and a plain white t-shirt, totally outnumbered by expensive suits and pristine lab coats, facing a $2 million engine problem that Sterling Aerospace's best MIT trained. Mines hadn't solved in 3 days. I could feel every eye in that room burning into me, all waiting for me to crack under pressure. But the thing is, I'd already survived worse. Then walks in Richard Sterling himself, CEO, spotlight hog, king of the smug grin, grabs the mic and sneers, "This woman thinks she can do what my engineers couldn't. No degree, no credentials, just delusion." And right after that, I swear, to God, he throws a wrench at my feet like we're in some twisted performance. The room bursts out laughing like it's all part of the entertainment. "Mike Knight, you've got 30 minutes, he says. "Fix it or you're out." 30 minutes to do what a group of PhDs couldn't pull off in 3 days. Why not, right? So I bend down, pick up that wrench with my right hand, the same one still aching from everything it's been through, and push past the buzzing in my brain, all those ghosts from the past clawing at me while keeping my eyes locked in. Because what no one in that room realized was who I really was, what I'd survived, what I'd built, and what had been taken from me. To them, I was a nobody. Just the quiet woman from the East Side who shelved books at the public library, brewed black coffee in a chipped mug, and wore the same thrift store shirt and worn sneakers every day. If you asked Mrs. Henderson next door, she'd probably say I was nice but carried some kind of sadness, something fractured inside. And she'd be right, but she didn't know I used to be one of the youngest chief engineers in NASA's history, or that the engine on stage, the one in pieces, was based on a design I created. Let me rewind. 5 years ago, I was standing on a stage in Houston, wearing my NASA blues, getting a standing ovation for a propulsion breakthrough that had stunned the industry. My fiancé, Daniel, was in the front row, smiling like we had the world at our feet. We built that engine together, or so I thought. The very next day, I caught him copying the entire project database. Lockheed was offering him $50 million for my work, like I was just the sidekick. When I confronted him, he set me up, framed me for espionage, sabotaged the lab, and triggered an explosion that permanently injured my hand and destroyed my career. NASA dropped me like a bad habit. My name, my title, my future, everything was packed up and thrown away like I'd never existed. I let myself disappear. I chose obscurity over trying to fight a system designed to crush people like me, until I saw that engine again, twisted and butchered, paraded as Sterling Aerospace's next revolution. That's when I knew I had to show up. I knew it wasn't a real interview. It was a trap, a public humiliation. But sometimes the only way to reclaim your name is to walk right into the fire and prove you don't burn. Sterling stretched the moment, introducing me like I was some reality show contestant. Engineers with MIT rings chuckled. Sarah Chun cracked jokes about YouTube degrees. Some intern whispered about how my hand trembled. Phones came out. It was a pile-on. Everyone there expecting a slow-motion failure. But what they didn't understand was that I'd already lost everything. Fear didn't mean much anymore. They claimed the engine was unsolvable. I touched the metal, closed my eyes, and in that moment I was back in the NASA lab, Daniel's hand over mine, only now I saw every red flag I missed. The design was a mess. Bad compression, flawed resonance, a death trap. Whoever bought the stolen plans didn't understand the heart of the system. Fix it wrong and it would explode at altitude. I had 20 minutes left, and the crowd was getting hungry for my collapse. I could have stopped right there, told them the truth, that I was the engine's original creator and this was a Frankenstein knockoff, but convincing a room full of doubters is near impossible when they've already made up their minds. Words wouldn't save me, proof would, so I dug in. My right hand cramped. I counted every second. 10 minutes. Sterling smirked again, said something about me realizing this wasn't the same as fixing a Toyota, but I was close, mapping out every flaw one by one. And here's the twist. Pain makes you sharper. Every twitch in my hand was a reminder that I was still alive, still fighting. 5 minutes. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my old NASA pin, rolled it between my fingers, like a prayer bead, ad astra per aspera, to the stars, through hardship. My father used to say, "Don't let anyone clip your wings." So instead of backing down, I looked Sterling dead in the eye and said, I need a microer and a real calibration kit. The good stuff, not this show and tell junk. Silence fell over the room like a switch had been flipped. Then bam, I tore into the flawed design with everything I had. Do the regulator, I say, and call out the exact specs. Resonance, compression, timing, like I'm reading my own diary. And that's the moment everything shifts. Sarah, who just mocked me minutes ago, goes ghost white. James, MIT Wonder Boy, suddenly stops breathing because I'm not supposed to know any of this, but I do because I built it. This is a modified Orion design, my design, and I say it aloud, and the whole room goes silent as I finish the repair, flip the switch, and the engine sings, every gauge green, diagnostics perfect, and that's when someone finally mutters, "Who the hell are you?" And I look up, steady now, no more tremble in my hand, and say, I'm the one who warned NASA about this failure 5 years ago when I designed it, and the silence after that is so thick it's like a vacuum, until someone whispers, but Dr. Mitchell is dead. And I roll up my sleeve, show the scars, and say, nah, just erased, because I'm not dead. I'm standing right here. You just never bothered to look, and then I flash the proof on screen, my name coded into the blueprint architecture, and hold up the cease and desist letter because, yeah, they stole my work, and I could legally own their entire company by morning, and the most shocking part, I tell them I'm not suing. I didn't come for revenge or even recognition. I came because I couldn't let anyone die from pride and greed, and that engine would have killed people. So I name my consulting fee $1, the price of a cup of coffee, because real engineering isn't about money or headlines. It's about saving lives, and now the mood shifts again. James wants me on his team. Sarah's apologizing through tears, and Sterling, proud, ruthless Sterling, is suddenly begging to make it right. And I look at them and say, you don't need me. You need to change your culture. Stop hiring the same faces from the same schools and start looking for the ones nobody sees. And I watch as that young engineer who mocked me before finally realizes how wrong he was, and I see James quietly removing his MIT diploma from the wall, understanding for the first time what it doesn't mean. And just before I walk out, a reporter asks, what now? Back to NASA? And I laugh and say, nope, back to the library, where I help kids fall in love with science, where some little girl can dream of Mars without being told she doesn't belong. And as I step out, the crowd parts in total silence. Sarah crying, James stunned, Sterling clutching the engine like a life raft, and the air outside feels lighter because 5 years ago I ran away. But this time, I'm walking away with my head high and my dignity intact, ready to go back Monday and keep planting seeds of wonder in kids who've never even seen a plane, but still dream about building one, because maybe one of them will change the world someday if someone believes in them. And now let me ask you, if you were in my place, would you have walked away forgiven and fixed what was broken, or would you have used your moment to get even? Because how we answer that question, that's the real test of who we are.